It is so good to gather together this morning and to see all these beautiful faces here in this space. I titled this morning's service, "To Be Determined," with the idea of embracing both meanings of that phrase. One, acknowledging that we are in a new time of uncertainty and unknowns. And two, that we are and will remain a community grounded in love and determined to live out our mission, whatever may come. Today, when we sing together and enjoy music and sing and raise our voices together, I invite us to be mindful of the power and beauty we create when we unite our voices in common purpose. This is the power of community. This morning, let us ground ourselves in it and take comfort in it. Our first hymn today is "My Country 'Tis of Thee," with revised words written by Marcus Amaker, which acknowledge this country's deepest wounds and its highest aspirations. The revised words are found in your order of service. And now I invite you to rise in body and or spirit, and we'll sing together.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where our fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. My country, 'tis of thee, echoes of slavery, of thee I sing. Land where our mothers died, land of a strong divide, our voices amplified, let freedom ring. Let music swell the breeze, we sing from bended knee, sweet freedom. let freedom ring. My country, 'tis of thee, can we claim liberty, to thee we sing. Long may our land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy might, let freedom reign.
Good morning. I'm Rob Zimmerman, a member of your Board of Trustees. My pronouns are he and him. Welcome to Unitarian Universalist Church West here in Brookfield, Wisconsin. We are grateful for the privilege of living and gathering on traditional territory inhabited at various times by the native peoples of the Seven Council Fires: Ho-Chunk, Kickapoo, Potawatomi, Menominee, Peoria, and Miami nations. We honor their deep connection to this land, their enduring stewardship, and the rich cultural heritage they have maintained for countless generations. We acknowledge the significance of this history and appreciate the opportunity to learn from this place that they hold as sacred. As an anti-racist faith community, we acknowledge that racism throughout our society continues to lead to the violent deaths and oppression of Jews, Black and Indigenous peoples, and other people of color. As a welcoming congregation for gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, and queer plus peoples, we must continue to address ongoing homophobia, violence, and unfair legislation targeting them. Our Unitarian Universalist faith calls us to engage in the work to dismantle white supremacy culture and all forms of oppression in our hearts, in our community, and in our world. Let's make it happen. It's so good to be together as a loving and evolving community, gathering in and among so many different spaces. We welcome those who are joining us online. Wherever we are physically, our hearts and spirits are one. If you're a newcomer here, I hope you picked up the flyer on the way in that tells you all about what to expect and how to connect. We'd love to have you fill out the welcome side of the blue sheet you received when you entered, and hope to see you at the newcomers table in the foyer after the service. And if you're online and want more information, please email us at visitor@uucw.org. There's time for coffee, tea, and conversation for everyone following the service. Find a comfortable place to hang out, here in the sanctuary, in the community room, in the library, and then challenge yourself to talk to someone you've not yet met. Let's build community together. People of all ages are always welcome in our sanctuary. However, we have a little table over there, the worship exploration table. It has quiet activity ideas for anyone and of any age who can benefit from keeping their hands busy while still enjoying worship. And you don't actually have to sit at the table, I see, for them. And for anyone needing or preferring to leave the sanctuary but remain engaged, there are self-guided activities in the community room along with our worship services live stream. I want to briefly highlight a few announcements which you can also find printed in your order of service. Announcement 2, join us for a nervous system calming sound bath led by Linda Strong today from noon to 1 o'clock. Reset and heal your nervous system with a healing vibrational sound bath experience. After a stressful week for so many of us, fellow UU Linda Strong will guide us through a chakra exploration and a healing vibrational sound bath. This event will also be live streamed on our website if you'd like to participate remotely. Announcements 5 and 6 relate to events next Saturday. We have our fall campus cleanup that morning. Please join us for some light yard work and fellowship preparing our grounds for winter. And that evening, we will be serving dinner at Guest House in Milwaukee. Sign up to donate food or to be one of the servers. We thank you for your generosity. It really is a privilege to have this once-a-week opportunity to explore and create meaning in the company of others. May this morning's service guide us in our path of truth and love.
He's tall. Our call to worship this morning is brought to us by Rosemary Watola Tromer from her words, "What I Can Do." So, I can't save the world, can't save even myself, can't wrap my arms around every frightened child, can't foster peace among nations, can't bring love to all who feel unlovable. So I practice opening my heart right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiency. I practice walking down the street heart first. And if it is insufficient to share love, I will practice loving anyway. I want to converse about truth, about trust. I want to invite compassion into every interaction. One willing heart can't stop a war. One willing heart can't feed all the hungry. And sometimes, daunted by a task too big, I tell myself, what's the use of trying? But today, the invitation is clear: to be ridiculously courageous in love, to open the heart like a lilac in May, knowing freeze is possible and opening anyway, to take love seriously, to give love wildly, to race up to the world as if I were a puppy, adoring and unjaded, stumbling on my own exuberance, to feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, and stay open, to love as if it matters, as if the world depends on it. Come, let us worship together.
And now, let us rise in body and or spirit, and we'll sing together hymn number 170, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People."
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
I now invite Rob to light our chalice, and I invite you to read our chalice lighting words along with me. They are printed in your order of service. In times of light and times of darkness, may this small flame kindle what is good in us and in the world.
Good morning. I'm Dave Cicero. My pronouns are he and him. I'm Director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUCW. And today I'm sharing a book called The Rabbit Listened. So if you'd like to come a little closer to see the pictures, please do. And while I read, maybe you kind of pay attention to something that you relate to, or that you also, a feeling that you share as well as the character in the book. And maybe afterwards, in our RE classes, religious ed classes, I know we'll be asking for some thoughts about what you still wonder, or what you think you'll remember for a while from this story. So we can all do the same thing. So The Rabbit Listened by Corey Derfeld and published by Dial Books. One day, Taylor decided to build something new, something special, something amazing. Taylor was so proud. But then, out of nowhere, things came crashing down. The chicken was the first to notice. Cluck, cluck, what a shame. I'm so sorry this happened. Let's talk about it. Cluck, cluck, cluck. But Taylor didn't feel like talking. So the chicken left. Next came the bear. Rawr, rawr, how horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. Rawr, rawr, rawr. But Taylor didn't feel like shouting either. So the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. Trumpada, I can fix this. We need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering. So the elephant also left. One by one they came. The hyena, hee, let's laugh about it. The ostrich, gulp, let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo, what a mess, let's throw it all away. And the snake, shh, let's go knock someone else's down. But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody, so eventually they all left. Until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit, but it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body. Together, they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please stay with me." The rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked and talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to hide, to throw everything away, and even to ruin things for someone else. Through it all, though, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build again. "I can't wait," Taylor said. It's going to be amazing. And that is the end. Except for this last page. Sometimes hugs say more than words. So George has agreed to pick up our RE lantern over by the chalice. And I'm going to invite those leaving for religious education classes. Wow, it's lit. Look at that. To please follow George and myself out while the rest of us join in singing our recessional. And we'll meet outside the doors of the sanctuary. As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
We enter now a time for sharing of joys and sorrows and gratitudes that touch our individual lives. One way that we express through ritual the many ways that we in this community care for one another. In a moment, you'll be invited to come to the mic to share aloud. If you have something you'd rather not share aloud, you can use the QR code on the order of service or the share side of the blue slip to put something in writing, and raise your hand if you need something to write with. And at any time during the week, you can use the link in our e-news email to let us know what's on your heart. And know that what you share is only for the ears of those gathered now. It will not be in the posted video of the service or shared in our e-news. So now, I invite you to come to the mic to speak if you choose to, or raise your hand and an usher will bring you a mic. I will light a candle for you, and after each sharing, I invite all of us to respond with me, "We hold you in love." You can form a line to this side. Now please come. To folks attending online, we hold you in love as well. And now we place one last candle for all the joys and concerns, not mentioned but held deeply in our hearts. Let us hold in love all the concerns that were not shared today, but that we are carrying as a community. We hold you in love. And now let's pause and breathe together and hold all that's been shared in love. Blessed be. And now please rise in body and or spirit, and we'll join in a singing meditation. Hymn number 1053, How Could Anyone?
How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul.
The reading is When It Really Is Just the Wind and Not a Furious Vexation by Kyle Tran Meyer. The year I was born, the Soviet Union's early warning radar system malfunctioned, reporting 5 intercontinental ballistic missiles in flight. A preemptive nuclear strike. You may have heard this story, how a single lieutenant colonel dismissed the signal as false alarm, that it was. But had he made a different call at that moment? Had he seen those 5 fingers as a fist? A mushroom cloud. The most dangerous cliche. I hold it in my hands on my 40th birthday, and it becomes a bouquet. 1,000 stems leading to 1,000 worlds in which cooler heads do not prevail. To 1,000 alternate universe versions of me, born in the year of the apocalypse. I see myself dead via radiation poisoning, dead via the shutdown of the supply chain, the failure of the water system, the reemergence of previously preventable diseases. Dead in such manly ways as an unlucky fall in a fist fight over nothing, via a scratch ignored and infected. I plucked petals looking for a version of me who survives, hoping to find that, leather jacket, black motorcycle, katana strapped to my back version. That warrior poet, lone vessel of vengeance, keeping the wastelands unending, tired of razor-clawed mutants at bay version. All these dead worlds, and he isn't out there. All these versions of who I could have been, and not a single hero. Folk, super, anti, or otherwise. In one life, I wore a suit of armor and drowned in a river. At one life, I hoarded food and choked. In another life, my basement was so full of boxes of bullets, a tornado came and I had no shelter. I emptied clip after clip after clip into the wind. All these dead worlds. And we tell the same stories. Which is not to say that I never survive. just that my survival in every reality where it is possible never belongs to me. Not a dual-wielding bandit warlord, just a neighbor sitting in yet another endless community meeting. And how many of our ancestors have taught us that after the world ends, there is work to do? I see myself in that work, not as a leader, not a loner, just another part of the pack. Because in every universe in which I survive, it's because of other people. And I don't always like them, but I love them. In every universe in which I am alive, it is less because I could fight and more because I could forgive, because I could cooperate, because I could apologize, because I could dance. I could also grow pumpkins in my backyard and leave them on my neighbor's porch, asking for nothing in return. In every universe in which I am alive, I am holding a first aid kit, a solar panel, a sleeping cat. Never a rusty battle axe or a rocket launcher. Sure, maybe sometimes a chainsaw, but that's only for firewood. I'm holding a cooking pot, a teddy bear, a photo album, a basketball, a bouquet of flowers. Survival is not a forest, it is a garden. Survival is not a siren, it's a symphony. And yeah, we fight for it once in a while, but survival is not the fight, it is the healing after. The hum of someone you trust applying a bandage. The feeling of falling in place in a safe place. Falling asleep in a safe place, better yet.
All we've been given by those who came before, the dream of a nation where freedom would endure, the work and prayers of centuries have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you.
Each generation
fortifies the soul of a nation that never dies. Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, I gave my best to
Well, dear ones, here we are. It was one thing to know that this might happen, to worry about it happening, but it's another thing for it to have happened. Many of us felt great hope and excitement about a different outcome to Tuesday's election, but it did not come to pass. All week, I've been talking with folks about the election results and how they're doing. And as you know, as is very clear, people are experiencing a great many feelings. There is deep, deep sadness. Sadness about the reality that we live in a country in which the majority of voters voted for a candidate with that platform. That many of our neighbors, friends, and/or family voted for this. Sadness that crimes exposed, that vile rhetoric with promises to end basic human freedoms and to suppress dissent, that these things did not stop a majority of voters for voting for this candidate. There is deep fear, bone-deep fear for the safety, freedom, and the very lives of vulnerable groups such as trans people, LGBTQ people, immigrants, and women. There is strong desire to keep ourselves positive, to not give in to despair. There is rage about this outcome. There is such grief about this outcome. I feel all these feelings with you. One of the most heartbreaking things from this past week for me is seeing the real-time rise in racist and sexist person-to-person contact that is happening, especially among children and youth, and knowing how that has been encouraged and modeled for them in recent years. Right after the election was called, a well-known far-right pundit tweeted, "Your body, my choice, forever," mocking the slogan, "My body, my choice." And there has been an uptick of men and boys shouting those words at women and girls online and in public places, including on school playgrounds. We feel shock and outrage and heartbreak. And all these feelings I'm naming are so valid. And I want to recommend this morning not moving too quickly past your feelings during this time. Before we can mend what is broken or repair what is torn, we must honor all that we are carrying in our hearts. Author Daniel Hunter is a resistance activist and trainer who has worked all over the globe. He advocates for this taking time to process on the website Waging Nonviolence. Quote, "If you aren't a feelings person, let me say it this way. The inability to grieve, to feel your feelings, is a strategic error." He continues, after Donald Trump won in 2016, we all saw colleagues who never grieved. They didn't look into their feelings and the future, and as a result, they remained in shock. Hunter tells the story of how in 2016, he and a friend got together and spent a couple days grieving and crying and raging and breathing and processing together. They named and grieved all the losses they had suffered and that they expected to suffer. And this helped them move to a place of acceptance of the truth, so that they didn't spend years in a daze saying, "I can't believe this is happening to our country." I am grateful for this insight. It resonates with me. I need this message. And I have been engaged in this grief and acceptance work this past week. We need to believe what has happened, to grieve it, and to accept it, as painful as it is. And that acceptance will free up our energy for the love and the work that we need to move forward together. Now, my friends, is a good time to engage deeply in community, or if you don't have it, to find community. Now is a time to cherish and tend and build your community. Now is a good time for us to do that here in our beloved UUCW community. We need all of us. We need you. And if you are new to us today or returning, please know that we are so glad you are here. And please know that you are whole and holy just exactly as you are. There will be time for strategizing about how to respond to what's coming. That work is beginning. There will be time for planning and discerning with help from other community groups, with help from our own Unitarian Universalist Association, our national denomination. There will be time for organizing and coalition building so that we can build power and make a real difference in people's lives where we can. But for right now, there are so many things that we do not know and will not know for a while. This is hard. Will Trump's most dangerous threats turn out to be mostly rhetoric, or will he carry them out? I don't know. Will millions of Americans realize that Trump is fundamentally a con man and that he is not going to improve their lives in ways they thought he would? Will that happen before the 2026 midterms? I don't know. Will this era of authoritarianism ultimately give birth to a vibrant counterculture and result in the ultimate construction of a just and love-guided world? I don't know. But I am here this morning to share with you a few things that I do know. I know that when I walked through the door of this church on Wednesday morning, I felt my frayed nervous system settle with the presence and purpose of being in community with you all. I know that the things that will help you stay grounded and functional and even happy in the coming years are the same as they have always been. Tending to your health, your relationships, the things that you love, and engaging in community. I know that something that really matters when dealing with authoritarian regimes is to not comply in advance. You may be familiar with scholar Timothy Snyder, who studies tyranny and fascism. His first rule of fighting fascism is do not comply in advance. Making ourselves smaller, quieting our voices, hiding our light, these things are complying in advance. We will not turn in our neighbors. We won't give up on justice or tell people to go back in the closet. And here's another thing I know, that our resistance will take many forms. It will be a great, big, beautiful bouquet of a variety of forms. Resistance can be keeping your heart open rather than letting it harden. Resistance can be creatively defending institutions, fiercely protecting people at risk. It can be tending patiently and carefully to your relationships and your communities. Resistance can be keeping on making your art, your music, your writing. Resistance can be bringing meals to the exhausted. I want to share with you some words I came across this week from the TV show Star Wars Andor. Words which speak to the freedom at the center of our very humanity. There will be times when the struggle seems impossible. Remember this: freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly throughout the galaxy. Remember that the frontier of the rebellion is everywhere, and even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our line forward. And then remember this: the imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks, it leaks. Authority is brittle. Oppression is the mask of fear. And know this: the day will come when all these skirmishes and battles, these moments of defiance, will have flooded the banks of empire's authority, and then there will be one too many. One single thing will break the siege. Remember this: try. Another thing I know is that our heritage as Unitarian Universalists is one of great creativity, engagement with the wider world, and resistance. Our religious ancestors are the ones who said no to the idea of a God who condemns people to hell. Our ancestors risked speaking up critically about doctrine from on high that did not add up in their eyes. This faith tradition has never been perfect. It has always carried in it the oppressive systems that exist in the very air we breathe, systems that we aspire and commit to dismantling. But at its heart, I know that our tradition is as heretics, spiritual explorers, doubters, questioners, and bold seekers of justice. Let us let that tradition bloom in us in ways that meet this current moment. Here is where I was going to tell the story of the chalice symbol, but I'm afraid that ended up on the cutting room floor, so to speak. I was also going to talk about ginkgo trees to keep my streak of talking about trees going. Again, another time for that. I know that this faith community will continue to center love in all that we do, that we will continue to celebrate and mourn together and create beauty together, that we will continue to be a joyful community committed to spiritual growth, inclusion, and justice. I know that together we will continue answering the call of love, rising in solidarity with the most vulnerable, and defending human rights and democracy. I want to leave you with words from Reverend Molly Hausch Gordon about surviving and even thriving in the coming years. This was quoted in the Washington Post last week. Get to know your neighbors. Feed them. Let them feed you. Watch each other's kids, grandkids, pets. Develop the muscle of generosity like you are training for a giving ultramarathon. Share everything you can with anyone who asks, and ask for what you need. Get in touch with your body. You will need it, and it knows things. Pay attention to what is happening below your neck. Sit at the feet of your most vulnerable neighbors and your own most vulnerable places. They have the most to teach you about survival. Listen. Remember your ancestors and the things they survived. Find the resilience that is your birthright and the courage that made way for your life. Practice taking risks. Show up in struggles where someone is fighting for their dignity, because that is how we will all survive. Sing a lot and dance. Make art, make love, rest luxuriously, eat pie. The world is ending and beginning now. We are surviving now. Let us love, let us connect, let us fight like hell for the dignity of each and all. May it be so, dear ones, and amen. In a moment, we will sing together Come and Go With Me, a Black spiritual from the time of slavery that's also performed and recorded as a traditional blues tune. Today, we lift up this great artistic work created by people who survived the very worst kind of violent oppression imaginable. And we remind ourselves that the most powerful visions for the future are those we create together in community. Let's rise in body and or spirit and sing hymn 1018.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go
UUCW's Split the Plate program is one of outreach and generosity. Each month, we give half of all undesignated offerings to a nonprofit organization to help us live our Unitarian Universalist values, pursue the goal of social justice, and serve our community. Of course, tomorrow is Veterans Day, and our Split the Plate partner for November is Dry Hooch, a peer support group by veterans for veterans. They promise brothers and sisters who had your back while in service are now here with Dry Hooch, providing you with the same support in the real world. It's normal to feel confused, depressed, alone when you're returning from duty. The civilian world feels like a strange country for a while. The veteran peers at Dry Hooch have been there. They can help with adjusting to the here and now, far away from experiences civilians just don't know. Some military assignments are missions in conflict zones. Vets can come back with elements of post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD and not even realize it. That's where Dry Hooch comes into the picture. A person is self-medicating, acting out, having horrific dreams, or simply, or not so simply, depressed. They can reach out at a friendly coffee shop in Milwaukee and begin a new path. A cup of coffee is the symbol of Dry Hooch, a beginning toward help. All kinds of resources are there, along with a buddy who knows how to listen and to help navigate a way through them. You can support Dry Hooch with your contribution. Go to the UUCW website, Donate tab, and select Split the Plate from the menu provided. Or you can text or mail your donation using the information found here. We thank you most sincerely for your support.
Now let us speak our words for dedicating our offering. They are printed in your order of service. To the work of this community, which is to ground ourselves in love and joy, and to act for inclusion and justice, we dedicate ourselves and this. Now please rise in body and/or spirit, and we'll sing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide
For our benediction, I offer words written and posted by Rebecca Solnit at 3 a.m. last Wednesday morning. They want you to feel powerless and surrender and let them trample everything, and you are not going to let them. You are not giving up, and neither am I. The fact that we cannot save everything does not mean we cannot save anything, and everything we can save is worth saving. You may need to grieve or scream or take time off, but you have a role no matter what. And right now, good friends and good principles are worth gathering in. Remember what you love. Remember what loves you. Remember in this tide of hate what love is. Gather up your resources, the metaphysical ones, which are heart and soul and care, as well as the practical ones. Take care of yourself, and remember that taking care of something else is part of taking care of yourself, because you are interwoven with the 10 trillion things in this single garment of destiny that has been stained and torn, but is still being woven and mended and washed. Dear ones, may it be so, and amen.